Hey guys, here we go into a video on expert boxing's advice for throwing a good left hook. Now, in his video, he kind of talks about how you want to throw it like a slap. And the reason that you want to throw it like a slap is because you'll get more range throwing it like that. Now, it's an interesting idea, but it's very misguided in my opinion. And we're going to talk about what he kind of thinks, right, as he demonstrates here some of the core fundamentals: transferring your weight to the front foot, crossing the line, bringing your weight back to the back foot, crossing the line. But he says that this left hook is no good because of the fact that it's too short. Now, the problem with this idea already is that your left hand is used to attack position one or attack your opponent when they're on the front foot. Your right hand is better at attacking your opponent when they're on the back foot, unless you're throwing an overhand right, which is a right hand that you'll throw at the front foot position. But for the most part, your left hand attacks the front foot. So if your opponent's on the front foot, you'll use the jab and the cross and the left hook to push them to their back foot. Now, you're not going to throw a left hook at your opponent if they're on the back foot. And that's one of the problems that he's trying to solve here, is by saying, okay, well, when my opponent doesn't get on the front foot, how do I hit them with a left hook? Rather than saying, when my opponent's on the back foot, how do I land a power punch, right? Now, it's kind of a backward solution, right? Or if he's attacking a person who's in the neutral zone with that kind of left hook. As we're going to talk about it here, or show here, it's going to be more of a neutral position, right? Or someone's kind of on the back foot, right? Or they're much closer to you. But part of that problem is that means that you're ignoring your feints and your probes to put your opponent from position 2 into position 1. In spite of the fact that he goes through a 1-2 before getting to the left hook. And those punches, if you're throwing them all in combination, are going to be used to set this left hook up. So even in his own core ideas of training and setting up a combination or setting up an engagement on the line, he's failing to interpret correctly his own 1-2 and their purpose, okay? And that's causing him to put himself into a position in which he's going to be throwing a very flawed technique left hook. Now, getting a little bit deeper into his video, he also talks about... Now, real quick, I do want to point out, he's demonstrating the knowledge, the correct positioning of the left hook here. But he's saying that this is not how you should be doing it. Now, obviously, if you're interested in this idea at all, this is mind-blowing. Why would you bother to learn it the right way just to augment it later and say that that's not how to? Well, let's find out how he got there. So how he's talking about it here, he's talking about getting to that neutral zone here. He's going to cross from the front foot to the neutral zone here, throwing that left hook. But he wants to stop and end here because that puts him in a position to throw the right hand. Okay? So what does that mean? That he's throwing a 1, 2, and then a left hook, all to set up a right hand. Okay? This is the punch that he's looking to set up. And he's saying that you want to throw your left hook like this so that if you miss, you can still throw your right hand. So, in theory, his boxing theory condensed says that your left hook should be only used to set up your right hand. Essentially, that's what it's boiling down to. Because he's saying to throw it this way so that you can always be able to throw a right hand. So you should always expect your left hook to miss, or expect your left hook to only be good enough to set up your next punch. Now, in my boxing theory, anytime that you do anything, or you throw a punch, or you do anything that's to set up your next position, that is a feint or a probe. No matter what, okay? Even in the case of Jermell Charlo versus Tony Harrison, landing a pretty good Wing Chun left hook. Now, on my Patreon, I described any punch that you use to set up another punch as a Wing Chun shot, okay? You throw it with minimal body weight, mostly an arm punch, simply to allow you to maneuver yourself into the next position so that you can throw the next attack, right? And that's what Charlo is using this left hook to do, is to cross Tony Harrison's line and put him into a position to cross it again with the right hand. Now, we're going to take a look at it from another angle, and we're going to see him being in that neutral zone here, right? His back is almost straight here, and then he drags his weight back to the front foot to throw this right hand, right? Dragging his weight to the front foot here. Now, we're going to talk about a few of these ideas real quick on Mr. Expert Boxing here. We're going to talk about, number one, well, let's go back to the other video real quick of him doing a better left hook. Neutral, front foot position. Now, take a look. Heel, knee, head, position 1, a line. Pretty good technique, okay? Back foot, heel, knee, head. Almost a line, right? He needs to bend that left leg a little bit, drag that weight back, but this is a pretty good left hook. This is pretty good technique, okay? That's pretty decent position. He's got no weight on the ball of his foot here, which makes sense because of the way that he's telling people to throw his left hook. Doesn't require you to transition your weight to the back foot because you're just going to be on the heel of your foot, moving into the bag, not actually crossing the line. That being indicative of not having weight on the front foot. But when we take a look at it, and he's going to land the left hook in the neutral position on the bag here, boom, boom, position 1, right? He's getting here still, 1, 2, 3, almost perfect, right? I know that line's messed up. But when he throws this hook here, heel, knee, head, heel, knee, head, he's still in the middle of his line here. So there's no power in this shot. This shot is purely designed to put himself into position to throw the next punch, i.e., that makes it a Wing Chun punch. In spite of the fact that Jermell Charlo does knock Tony Harrison down with this shot, we all remember that Tony Harrison gets up and wins the fight. Okay? He gets up and wins the fight. I believe. I'm pretty sure. I think this was the clips from the first fight. But we're going to take a look at another... Oh, and we're going to take a look real quick. This is how Jermell Charlo trains his left hook. Neutral, 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 right? Same neutral position. He's not getting his weight to the back foot. Front foot, back foot, front foot, neutral hook. Neutral hook. Look at him cross the line here with this hand now. This is very important, okay? I want you to think about this position real quick. As we move on, now we're going to kind of connect the dots a little bit to David Lemieux, who has a killer left hook, okay? Look at how similar this position here for David Lemieux throwing his power left hook is to this one with Jermell Charlo, okay? Crossing the line, right? Bringing your weight back to the back foot. It's very similar. The hand placement in which he's coming into contact with the bag, obviously different. But the idea is the position is very similar because that's how you go about dragging your weight to the back foot and crossing the line and dragging your opponent's head with you. Now, let's take a look at a couple examples of David Lemieux doing this expertly. Now, here he is, going to the front foot. Again, his heel is here, his knee is here, his head is here. We can agree that's a line. Now, he's going to cheat a little bit, and he's going to take a step with his back foot so he can make it so that he doesn't have to cross so much distance with his head. Notice, crossing the line, right? Here's all three of these points, almost perfect. Now he's going to bring them over here and try to make a line to his back foot and do it through that left hook, right? As he drags his weight from here to here, okay? Trying to get it as close to his knee as possible, or his other knee as possible. But an absolutely beautiful technique here. Now, let's take a look at it at another angle real quick. Here it is, front foot all the way, going to the back foot, okay? Look at how much closer David Lemieux's face is to us right now before he starts his left hook and where he winds up when he ends his left hook that absolutely demolishes Stevens, right? Demolishes him, okay? Now, this guy can throw a left hook, okay? Now, let's also take a look at Stevens landing his left hook first, okay? That's a very important idea. We're going to come back to that in a second, though. Again, what I want to pay attention to is transferring your weight, okay? David Lemieux, an expert. front foot, back foot. Again, heel, knee, head, right? His other knee is over here, right? Where's his head? His head is nowhere near that, right? It's much closer to this imaginary line than the other one. And that's going to be what allows him to transfer his weight, to really deliver power through this position. Now, again, let's also take a look at all of these left hooks here. Look at how close he is to him, okay? This is how close Tony Harrison is to Jermell Charlo when he lands that hook. Even though Jermell Charlo is using expert boxing's technique or advice for throwing the left hook, he's still really close to where his opponent is, right? He's really close to that target right there. Really close to it, okay? Look at how close David Lemieux is, right? No one here is trying to throw that shot with, purposely deficient technique simply so that they can land it on a farther away target. Again, being a professional fighter means that you have to use all of your tools, your feints, and your probes to get your opponent out of the positions that they're in and that they're ready to defend against you and into the positions that you want to attack them in, right? Feint and probe and make them change positions to set that left hook up. Now, again, one of the other important ideas here is that, and another idea that Mr. Expert Boxing is missing here, when he says that you're going, if you miss this shot, you don't want to miss a lot, right? It also shows that he's missing the idea that crossing the line and transferring your weight changes your position in the ring and is also going to augment what positions your opponent can now attack you, right? Or what punches they can attack you with, okay? So let's turn the idea around on him, okay? And show, now this is going to be the really interesting part and show that there's no ambiguity in understanding that his boxing IQ is not up to the level of expert, okay? So going full circle with Expert Boxing's left hook theory, he understands that if you throw your left hook, you're going to wind up being, if you throw all of your weight into it, you're going to be too far away. You're going to be too far away. I don't think I clipped that version. But in the next clip here, he's going to be bringing all of his weight back and kind of demonstrating that he will be flailing away and dragging his weight back to the back foot, okay? And showing that he's too far away to hit anybody. But what he's not understanding is that he's also putting himself into a position where he cannot be hit, okay? And this is a very important concept, okay? So he's demonstrating that he understands that being on the back foot makes it harder for you to hit your opponent and for your opponent to hit you. But he's also not understanding that this is not the position that you want to be throwing left hooks to. That you're going to be, that you want to be throwing left hooks to the front foot, right? When your opponent is closer to you. But that when your opponent is in this position themselves, that you don't want to be throwing left hooks at them, right? So he understands that being in this position means less punches you'll be able to land less punches, but you'll be able to be hit by less punches. But he's also saying that you don't want to wind up in this safe position after you throw your punch, because you want to be on the line ready to throw your right hand, which is counterintuitive, because if you're on the line while your opponent is throwing punches at you, and here's Curtis Stevens throwing his left hook, boom, and very likely, if you pay attention, here's a big red circle, cocking up here to throw a right hand. Again, he throws his left hook. He lands first on David Lemieux, right? But David Lemieux's left hand, and watch Curtis Stevens' hand, right? He tries to throw the left hook. Now he's going to be bringing that right hand over to throw a right hand, right? Again, if you're going to be in a position like that, you're going to be getting stuck on the line with other people's potential power punches. It's not safe to be on the line for more than one beat or one count or one weight transition worth of time as your opponent learns to set punches up against you. especially as the fight goes on, and it takes them less beats, it takes them less steps, it takes them less feints to find you. And as we can see, David Lemieux finds Curtis Stevens here with the probing right hand to put himself into position 1 and then to cross the line with the left hook. And even though Stevens catches him first, he's not crossing the line and dragging his weight back to the back foot. Stevens not. Even though he lands his shot first, he's not using any defensive responsibility. If he was bringing his weight and landing that left hook and bringing his weight back all the way back to the back foot, not only would he not be getting hit by David Lemieux's left hook, but he would have won that exchange, right? So getting back to Expert Boxing's boxing theory, he understands that changing positions will create a safety for you, right? But he doesn't understand that while that may be beneficial for your opponent, right, it's also going to be equally beneficial to you, right? Your position is the same as your opponent's positions, okay? If you can throw a leaping left hook or a leading left hook or a slapping hook, he doesn't say to slap with it. Now, I want to be very clear. It's not one of his things, even though that's in the title of the video, the slapping left hook. The way that he's talking about this, he's looking to attack zones that are not meant to be attacked. He's just missing a few of those ideas with feinting and probing and understanding that. And again, one of the most important ideas is that anything that, let's see, Michael Jordan used to say, anything you can do, I can do better, right? That's one of my favorite sayings growing up, right? For me, right? It helped me to be competitive. I wanted to say that about anyone who could do anything. I was like, I want to learn how to do that better, right? But the idea is that your boxing positions have parity with your opponent. And if your opponent is in a position in which they cannot be hit by the left hook, that means that position is also available to you, okay? And now rather than augmenting your boxing style so that you can water down your boxing technique so that you can gain access to certain punches that you normally wouldn't have, right? Think Mayweather's leaping left hook. His is a little different as he pendulum steps with it. He's able to create distance while still transitioning his weight. But the idea is that there's a parity between these positions and not understanding that what is true for your opponent is also true for you, and missing the idea that he can connect the dots between not being able to land the left hook at range A, right, at this range, and missing the left hook at any range, right? Understanding that his opponent is going to be in this position when he's missing the left hook, right, on the back foot. And when he misses the left hook, he's going to wind up in a similar position in which he is immune to the left hook, right? Or, on the back foot, much, much more difficult to hit with the left hand. Anyway, so that's going to bring us to the final part of this video, which is going to be a Patreon video from one of my patrons. He joined in March. His name is Emerson Mill. We're going to be just kind of playing his video. And then I'm going to show a drill that I designed for him to help him learn to turn his left hook over. As you can see, he's actually throwing his left hook in a very similar manner when he does throw it at the bag, getting kind of in that neutral position, throwing that shot, good pivots, good working around the bag here. But when he throws that left hook, great control, boom, body shot, head, right? But he's not crossing the line, right? He's not really transferring his weight. And that's going to be one of the things that we're going to work on. And we're going to work on it through one of his favorite drills here. He throws this combination many times throughout his drill here, throwing the left hook to the body, left hook to the head, boom, boom, boom. So I designed a drill for him. And if you guys want to see it on my Patreon, it's also going to be on Instagram with sound if you want to hear it. But here's me putting my gloves on, showing the positions, position 1, position 2. And it's just me going through the drill part of it, kind of demonstrating it in different positions. But you're going to be throwing left hook to the body, left hook to the head, neutral. Now look at the ball of my foot is up, right, on the back foot. Now when I transfer my weight and I bring my weight back to the back foot, I get my heel up on the front foot, my heel on the ground on the back foot, so I can transfer my weight, right? Think David Lemieux. Again, drill, right? Back foot, front foot, front foot. Left hook to the body, left hook to the head, left hook to the head and crossing the line. Again, when you throw a hook to the head and you want it to be your real punch, not a setup punch, not a punch to put you in position to land the next punch, you want to use that punch to exit the line. Again, use that whole idea. Again, expert boxing's whole idea with this left hook is that it's hard to hit someone on the back foot with the left hand, right? But he's also augmenting his own left hook so that he loses the safety of that left hook, right? So it's completely nonsensical. Understanding the idea that he understands that position is difficult to hit, but then also is taking away that difficult position, that difficult to hit position in his own boxing theory, right? How nonsensical. But anyway, if you want more drills, there's going to be some speed bag drills up there. There's me. So this was just me demoing the drill about changing positions. There's me actually working the drill as well. And then I think that's all I have for today for Patreon. But again, is that great coaching? Okay. Again, his boxing theory dictates that you want to throw this compromised left hook so that you can attack the more difficult position of somebody being on the back foot. And then he also doesn't believe that you should transfer your weight to the back foot when you throw that left hook, i.e. that difficult position to be in to hit the left hook, to be hit with the left hook or the left hand, right? So he's taking away the advantages of the left hook while still leaving the disadvantages, right? What are the disadvantages? Well, you don't hook with a hooker, right? Stevens found that out real quick, right? David Lemieux is a hooker, and he makes him pay, right? Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I know that I did this series with Stevens and Jermell Charlo before, but I think using the same clips helps to reestablish and reiterate the ideas behind these techniques. As too many different people or too many different whatever kind of stops it from carrying the same weight, right? When you don't have the same examples. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my Instagram and check out my Patreon and check out all that stuff. And yeah, thanks guys.